So before we get into like the main crux of the podcast, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, why you got into music, who you are, just for anyone who doesn't know?
No worries. So I'm Brad. I'm the singer for HIGHWAVES, who are three-piece sort of band of musicians from the Isle of Man. We're very sort of focused on alternative rock and grunge, shoegazer kind of stuff. So that's kind of our ballpark for people who haven't heard of us yet. I've been into music for years and years and years, and got into my songwriting when I was a teenager and sort of haven't given it up. That's sort of my main thing I want to do now, is just write songs. And you know, a lot of our songs sort of focus on, you know, our view of where we are in the world and stuff, and it's all focused on different things. We don't tend to go down one alley, but you know, it's all definitely the world through our lens, if you like.
So I think if you haven't heard the podcast before, this is kind of it. It is kind of basically about like songs that define key moments of your life, and in an exploration of like existentialism as well, and the meaning of life as well a bit. Totally. It's one of the hardest things I've ever been asked to do, and I've had about a day, but I don't think it would get any easier with more time. You almost think it'd be easy with like 10 seconds to pick, but like when you have to think about it, it's really hard. I don't know how to play it sometimes, because like I'm like resurrecting it, and like I've started doing it again. Like the first few people I interviewed, like I hadn't asked them the questions yet, and I think they were a bit taken aback because they thought it was just going to be like a normal podcast interview. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, like shit, I should have probably like given them the interview, like the questions in advance. And then I've done that like for like the last few people I've talked to. Yeah. And then it's like it's not really helped for a lot of them, because they're like, oh, this has just made me like think more, like, so now I don't even know, like the. Yeah. So I think, to be fair, like, and this goes for everyone, whether I ask you straight away or I give you like time in advance to think about the questions, you don't have to just say one song, I always say, because to be fair, it's hard. It is really hard to narrow down just one song, especially for some of these questions. Because to be fair, like, I mean, if you haven't heard the pod before, it's like, I don't know, because like one of the questions is obviously about your first love. Like, how can like you have just one song for that? Like, do you know what I mean, as well? Yeah. I mean, some people can, but like I think it's like how, I don't know, like sometimes things like that, it could also just, with the questions, it can change day by day for like many people. So totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got quite a few honourable mentions as well as the ones I've gone for, because just like stuck. Yeah, I've been like, right, mention this as well, because that was pretty close. So yeah.
Well, do you want to do like the honourable mentions at the beginning or the end?
I think I'll do them like as we go through, because there's like reasons that kind of tie them in a little bit. Yeah.
So what would you say is the song that reflected your childhood? Doesn't have to be a song from your childhood. And also, I think it's something that I didn't really think about when I first asked this, but like it could also be a song from your teenagers or like your early youth. It doesn't really matter either, or it's just like or it could be for like all of it. It's just like a song in general. So yeah, what song?
So this one I've gone for Baba O'Reilly by The Who, which was, and the reason behind that is I've got this memory. I can't remember how old I was. I must have been, I don't know, about 10 or 11. And when I was a kid, during the summer holidays, my parents used to send us to this sort of like Christian mission thing. They weren't Christian, but it was like free childcare for like 2 weeks of the summer holidays. And then when I was like 10 or 11, they said, oh, you don't have to go, but you have to help your dad, because he was like building a new kitchen in our house, and he's like, but you have to help him every day instead of going. You're not like sitting around doing whatever. So I just remember that 2 weeks was just basically sat in his Sprinter van going around the industrial estates and the builders merchants around the Isle of Man, and he had a CD player with like, he had 2 CDs. He had The Who and he had Jack Johnson. But I can just remember being sat in the Sprinter with my sister and just listening to this Barbara O'Reilly song over and over again. And it's like one of the main things that got me into music, I think, because I bought a drum kit after that. I mean, I don't play drums now. I was absolutely... sorry, just... Am I allowed to swear on this or not?
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine. Go for it. It's fine.
Yeah, so I was shit at drums. But yeah, it properly got me into it. And yeah, it was just a great song. I mean, but just that memory of being sat in the industrial estate, just listening to it, like eating pasties for 2 weeks, was just like one of the core memories of my childhood, I guess.
Oh. It's actually a really wholesome memory, I have to say. It's a very weirdly British as well. I don't know how else to put that, but like eating pasties.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know. I think
pasty slice in the van every day. Yeah, yeah. The weather was terrible that summer as well. It was raining like every day as well. I can remember that. Yeah. The honourable mention for this was "Keep On Moving" by Five, which that's one of my earliest memories. I can remember my mum making up a dance routine for me to that.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, I remember seeing it on video as well. So yeah, she filmed it plenty of times, so I can't forget about it.
I kind of love that. No, that's really sweet. I think Five is I haven't thought about Five probably since I was a child myself, to be honest with you. I kind of forgot they existed until you just mentioned it then, but very like early 2000s, was it? Yeah, that'd be like early 2000s thing. Yeah. I had to look it up because I wasn't sure if it was Blue. Those two like go in my head as like the same thing for me. So yeah, they're my childhood too. Oh, cute. So the next question is, what song do you feel like defines your first love? It doesn't have to be like romantic love. It could be like friends and family. It could be music, like your first love of music. And it could also be like, it could just genuinely be romantic love if you really want it to be. I'm not saying, I feel like I sounded really like pessimistic. I was like, if it has to be romantic love, it can be. No, most people will answer this as like romantic. But if you want to answer like it in a different way, because I've had people who either like, they just, I don't know, they haven't had like a romantic connection like that before or something, so they choose not to, but it's up to you. Go for it.
Yeah, so I had interpreted it as a first romantic one, and this was actually the easiest one for me to pick, I think, because oh god, this is properly cringe now, but we had a song. I was like 15 I would have been, and me and my girlfriend at school had a song, and the song was "Whistle for the Choir" by Fratellis.
I know that song, yeah. I love that song. It's a really sweet song, no? Like, I think I get very, like, I don't know, because I keep saying it's sweet, but it's like, I think I've definitely thought about people when I've listened to that song as well.
Yeah, but, like, strangely sad as well. Like, yeah, obviously thought we were dead deep or something listening to that. But yeah, well, weirdly enough, when you sent this, I was like, I know what my answer's going to be, because I was just in the pub a few weeks ago, and this fella was on the acoustic guitar and started playing it, and I was like, yeah, dead cringe. But like, this was my song. This was my song when we were like kids. And
no, that's really sweet. I love that. No, so that's really wholesome. Very, very iconic. Very good answer. Now this is where we get into like a bit of the existentialism. I'm sorry, I do apologise. What song do you want to listen to whilst you have your last breath? I think I saw like a documentary like about people having euthanasia, and they got to like choose the song they listened to whilst they were dying. And I think then like me and my mate saw it, and then we were just having like a general conversation about like kind of what way we would want to go out, and then also like what song we would want playing whilst we like are on our last like legs. So I think it's something, I don't know, it's something that not a lot of people probably think about, but it is quite an interesting question. And I think I've asked a lot of people it, and like everyone does come up with quite different answers, like depending on like I don't know, their life experiences and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting. I always find what people say to this.
Yeah, I think because it's something like you never ever consider, it is like such a good question. I was proper racking my brains, and then I was thinking like, oh, it depends on how you go, doesn't it? Really, but yeah, it's mad. And this was also like doubly difficult because you have to decide on the. Sorry for spoilers, but you have to decide on your funeral song next. So it's like, oh, like there's quite a lot of crossover there, I thought.
So for like the funeral song, the way I kind of differentiate is what song do you think represents you as a person? Like, so it's a bit more, it's more about like you specifically, rather it's like, this is the song you want to hear, like, and enjoy your last moments. And then the other song is like, what do you think maybe represents you as a person? Like, do you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. Two great questions. So the one after a lot of contemplation, this was, I think, the hardest one, the song to die to. I've gone with Life in a Northern Town by the Dream Academy. And I think that's a belter of a song because it's sort of, I don't know, it's really sort of like peaceful, but also got a lot of sort of heart and vibe to it. And you could just imagine, like you say, if you're ending up euthanized, then it's sort of definitely the kind of thing you can just float away to, I reckon. You know, and yeah, oh, I just love it. Just a great song. I had to go back through like my most listened to songs and go like, which one fits? And I was like, yeah, that one was straight away. Like when I was looking through, I was like, popped out. I was like, yeah, that's the one.
I feel like I'd be in danger if I do this because everyone says like they look through like the most listened songs, but like some of the stuff, especially in like the last year, have been like really fucking cringy. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to listen to this whilst I'm like on my way out. Like I might want to listen to something slightly better. But no, that your song, your choice is definitely like not cringe at all. Like very, I was gonna say melancholic, but do you know what I mean? Like it's very like, not really, no.
It's one of them. It's in between because it is like. It is sad, but it's also like got a load of happiness in it as well. I don't really know how to describe it, and you can really like I like the lyric in it as well is like really really good and like really descriptive. So you could almost like start dreaming to it, I reckon, if you started picturing what was in it, you know. And I think that'd be quite a nice thing. My other honourable mention, my jokey one, was going to be Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now. I thought that would get a little giggle going into the machine. Like,
no, I mean, I think just for jokes wise, Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now would be fucking iconic. Like, right. So on to the last question. What song do you want to listen? Do you want to have played at your funeral?
Ooh, yeah, that's tough because. I've gone with one that's a little bit more out there for this one. Like, it's one that I've introduced to quite a few of my friends, but like, yeah, what would they pick for me? I don't know what they pick for me. I've gone with a song by a newer band called Fizz, and it's called Hell of a Ride. And this was my most listened to song of last year. I love this song. And I think the way, well, I'd like to think it represents me, because particularly in my writing songs and stuff, it's a lot of it seems quite cynical and quite pessimistic, but I like to think like I am actually quite an optimistic person. So like the cynicism and the pessimism is just, it's not for the sake of it. It's because I think things can be better generally, and what I'm talking about. So, and that song, the verses are really quite bizarre and quite cynical about the end of the world and what have you. And then the chorus is just, it's weirdly like about getting old and dying, but like how good life is on the way and stuff. And then the middle section, it all calms down, and they're talking about seeing your friends and how great that side of things is as well. And yeah, I don't know. I think it just kind of totally sums up life in a way, how you want to embrace everything, like, you know, good and bad, really. So I think that's probably what I'd pick.
Nice. I mean, I haven't listened to this song personally, but I think the way you've kind of like sold it sounds like quite a perfect song to have at a funeral. I will have to check it out afterwards, but it's kind of just be so perfect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great, and it's full. It's still like lively and stuff, and it isn't like everybody start crying and what have you. But yeah, there was like a mad story with that. So like the first time I heard that song, I was driving the van and I was pulling up to the petrol station, and it like came on Radio 1 on like the indie show, Jack Saunders, yeah, came on there, and I was like, this is brilliant, and I was like, I'm gonna have to like stay in the van to listen to who this is and find out so I can listen to it again. So obviously it's this band Fears, and then I come home and like look them up and see who they are and stuff. And years ago, I went to college down in London, and one of my housemates was writing with like one of the girls in the band. I was like, that's mad. Yeah. So she was like round at our house writing. I was like, that's so bizarre. Yeah. I was like, but like something where I was like, I genuinely had no idea at all. And I was like, that's really cool. I really should have been better mates with her. maybe I could have been in that band.
Love that. No, that was, I wasn't expecting that story as well. That is mental. Yeah, no, thank you for that. So is there any other honourable mentions, do you feel like? So to be fair, what kind of songs, like I think this is probably more of a generic like question for like most artists, but what songs or artists have inspired you over the years, like, and your sound? Just because I feel like we might like just to throw in some like honourable mentions and stuff before we leave.
Yeah, totally. So I would say the biggest inspiration on HIGHWAVES of the band is Nirvana. So sort of like those big switches between like quiet and loud and the aggressive bits and all that kind of thing, while still trying to be melodic in your aggression, I guess. So Nirvana are sort of the big influence for us. And then obviously similar bands to them, like the shoegazy stuff. The band we want to be most like is the Cribs. We all love the Cribs, but obviously our music doesn't sound anything like them. But I don't know, it's just they've had such a the way we see it, just such a quality career. Like, you know, they've been going forever and ever, and they always have the cool slots and stuff. So yeah, the Cribs was the band we all want to be like. Yeah, and then obviously the obvious ones, the Beatles, Oasis, that kind of thing from growing up in a northern town. You've got to sort of get involved with all that.
Nice, solid. I love that. All very solid answers. So I think we're going to kind of love you and leave you now. It's been really lovely speaking to you and getting to know you.
No problem, you too.
Thank you. Before we leave, is there any like up and coming singles or kind of gigs you've got to promote?
So our new single, Family Tree, is coming out on March 28th, and that's one we're really excited about. Probably our best song we've released so yet. So I can't wait for that. And then other than that, we're coming on a tour of the North in the middle of July. So be sure to keep an eye out for HIGHWAVES then.
Oh, I definitely will do. Thank you so much for coming on the pod, by the way. It's been really lovely speaking to you.